يا سيد أنا رجعت على لبنان، أتمنى أنك ترجع كمان على لبنان.
قرار صادر من مجلس الجامعة تسمية حزب الله الإرهابي.
Good afternoon, you're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim and these are today's top stories. Lebanese man Cesar Masri is found dead in his home in Dawhat Aramoun. Authorities believe he was stabbed to death. Financial prosecutor Judge Ali Ibrahim charges 22 people over links to the illegal internet scandal. And Saudi King Salman meets with Sheikh Al-Azhar in Egypt. Talks revolve around the fight against terrorism. The body of a Lebanese man identified as Cesar Masri was found in his home in Dawhat Aramoun. The national news agency says Masri has been stabbed to death after he had gone missing on Thursday. No other details were provided. Future parliamentary bloc head MP Fouad Senoura says the 13-year jail sentence handed down to former Information Minister Michel Smeha proves that Lebanon abides by the rule of law. Senoura said the verdict brought justice to those who struggled and sacrificed their lives for independence and freedom in Lebanon and dealt a blow to attempts to repress the Lebanese people and control them through terror. Lebanon's military tribunal sentenced Smeha to 13 years in prison with hard labor on Friday in the final verdict of his terror retrial, satisfying officials who had previously called for the court's dissolution. Smeha, originally sentenced last year to 4.5 years in prison for plotting bomb attacks in the country, has already served about 1/3 of his new sentence. He has also been stripped of his civil rights, meaning he can no longer vote or hold public office. Financial prosecutor Judge Ali Ibrahim has charged 22 people over links to the illegal internet scandal. The national news agency says the individuals were charged with illegally installing networks and squandering public funds. Most of those charged are believed to be on the run. Telecoms Minister Boutros Harib last month announced that several internet providers across Lebanon were operating illegally and that Israel was using the networks to spy on the country. The case has now been referred to Mount Lebanon's first investigative judge, Jean Fernini, and investigations are still ongoing. Lebanon is expected to charge 7 people who were detained this week over their alleged involvement in the abduction of 2 children from a southern Beirut suburb. 5 Australians, including the children's mother, 2 Britons and 2 Lebanese, have been arrested over the abduction. 2 of the detained were reportedly released, but it was not clear who they were. The source said the case was referred to Mount Lebanon General Prosecutor Judge Claude Karam, who will likely charge the 7 remaining detainees on Monday. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop said her country was doing all it could to maintain contact with all parties involved in the case.
I spoke with our ambassador, Glenn Miles, who is based in Beirut overnight. We had a very detailed discussion about the consular assistance that the Australian government is providing to the 60 Minutes crew and to the mother. There is a compassionate element to this case because of course it involves children. We are providing as much support as we can, meeting with officials within the Lebanese government and doing what we can to ascertain what is proposed in relation to the crew and the alleged involvement of the crew in this case. At this stage we understand that they're still being held in detention and that the question of charges is an issue that will be determined shortly. I'm hoping to make representations with officials within the Lebanese government as well, and given the sensitivity of this case and the fact that children are involved, we are handling this very carefully, but we are keeping Channel 9 informed at the highest levels and ensuring that our consular staff are available to provide whatever support they can. We're talking with the lawyers that have been engaged by Channel 9 for the crew. We're talking with the husband's lawyers. We're talking with the mother's lawyers. So Australia is very actively involved in trying to get a solution to this case. We have been informed that the Lebanese authorities view this case very seriously, and I cannot understate the seriousness with which the Lebanese authorities are viewing the case, but we're doing all we can to maintain contact with all of the parties involved, including their lawyers who've been engaged by the father, by the mother and by the 60 Minutes crew, and also by the other firm that was involved in this matter.
Mosquitoes have swept through several coastal areas south of Beirut due to the relatively high temperatures and humidity as authorities sprayed pesticides to kill them off. The insects were seen mainly between the coastal town of Jiyeh and the southern district of Zahrani and were increasingly visible in Sidon. Reports say scores of cement workers abducted near Damascus this week have been released, but at least 4 were killed. The reports come 2 days after ISIS abducted 300 cement workers and contractors from their workplace in the area of Dumair, just northeast of the capital, Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says all those abducted have been released except for 30 people who were guards at the cement factory. For its part, the ISIS-affiliated Amaq news agency said most of the 300 were released after they were questioned to check whether they were Muslims or included government supporters. It said 4 workers who belonged to the minority Druze sect were killed and 20 other pro-government gunmen are still being held. People are returning to the war-ravaged ancient city of Palmyra to start their life anew after it was freed from the Islamic State group on March 27th and landmines they planted were removed. The Syrian government army recaptured the city following intense battles against the Islamic State, which had controlled the city since last May. The war has left a trail of destruction all the way from the Russian military's Latakia Air Force Base in the east to the central city of Palmyra. Belgian authorities confirmed the arrest of key Paris attack suspect Mohamed Abrini along with 4 other people. That's coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the English newscast. Saudi King Salman has met with Sheikh Al-Azhar in Egypt with talks revolving around the fight against terrorism. Earlier, King Salman said an agreement has been reached with Egypt to build a bridge over the Red Sea connecting the 2 countries. The monarch made the announcement in televised comments on Friday, the 2nd day of his visit to Cairo, after meeting Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and before representatives of the 2 countries began signing investment deals. Salman said, quote, "This historic step to connect the 2 continents, Africa and Asia, is a qualitative transformation that will increase trade between the 2 continents to unprecedented levels." Moving on to Europe, Belgian authorities have confirmed the arrest of key Paris attack suspect Mohamed Abrini along with 4 other people, including a man they believe may have helped the Brussels bombers. The prosecutors said they were also looking into whether Abrini is the man in the hat, the surviving 3rd suspect seen on CCTV images next to the 2 suicide bombers who blew themselves up at the Brussels airport on March 22nd. Abrini, a 31-year-old Belgian, has been on Europe's most wanted list since November 13 Paris attacks, in which 130 people were killed. He was last seen 2 days before the attacks in the motorway service station CCTV video, driving towards the French capital from Belgium, along with another Paris attack suspect, Salah Abdeslam, who was arrested last month. North Korea says it has carried out successful ground tests of a new engine for its intercontinental ballistic missiles. The jet test of a new type of high-power engine was ordered and carried out at an unspecified date by leader Kim Jong-un, according to South Korea's Yonhap news agency. Kim was quoted as saying that the test success provided a firm guarantee for mounting another form of nuclear attack upon the U.S. imperialists and other hostile forces. A video released today showed Kim supervising a missile test and military drills believed to have been conducted at the missile station near North Korea's west coast. A painting depicting U.S. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump in the nude will be put on display in London on Monday with a £1 million price tag. The Maddox Gallery will exhibit the painting dubbed Make America Great Again by Los Angeles artist Ilma Gore, which has generated some controversy. In fact, the image has been blocked from some social media websites such as Facebook and Instagram. Gore said she even received death threats for her work.
We don't really like Donald Trump, or certainly I don't particularly like Donald Trump, and I think it's very ironic and good on the artist. So I wanted to come and have a look at it in real life. And it is very ironic and very funny, and I think it's very foolish of him to have taken such an extreme attitude to the painting. But it has made it worldwide famous now, so good for the artist.
Good publicity for her.
What are you going to do? Are you going to cover up Michelangelo's David if everyone's getting into all about, you know, the childish things of people's genitals and all that sort of thing? It's art, you know. You can go into any gallery in the world, and you can go to Christie's or Sotheby's or whatever, and there's always naked people there. It's really fun. But this is interesting because it's controversial. We're not anti-Donald Trump at all. I used to live in the States. Pro-American, I think it's great, but this is an interesting subject of somebody, of what they're doing, and particularly in the comments that have been made about women. And every lady that we've had come into the gallery has just loved it.
At first I was sad for a lot of people and creatives, because how am I being banned for my own impression and my artistic thought process when Donald Trump can still post his crazy remarks on Facebook and still be up constantly, just in our faces every day, and he has a great Facebook page that's never banned. Just a little bit unfair.
Actress Meryl Streep closed out the Women in the World Summit in New York City's Lincoln Center. The April 6 to 8 summit saw a range of politicians, journalists, academics, activists, and celebrities take to the stage to speak out on various issues affecting women across the globe. The three-time Oscar-winning actress also broke out into a song from Broadway hip-hop musical Hamilton, singing The Room Where It Happens.
Thousands of years in most cultures, the voices of women did not resound in the halls of justice or from the pulpit or the podium, in parliament, at senates, at court, or in the very important meetings of very important men where the course of history was set. It's all very, 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 very recent. Only a little bit more than 100 years ago, which is a fraction of a millisecond on the whole human clock. Most of us, our priorities, our concerns, our achievements were invisible. So this has been a profound, if uneven, change, and it's still taking place under real time. You could make a case that, along with the technological revolution, the most provocative, upending, destabilizing, thrilling change in the course of human history is that we're finally in it. All of a sudden, we're in the room where it happens, the room where it happens, the room where it happens. Women are suddenly in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I couldn't resist that. And there are people that are happy about this, and there are people who are not. But we women who can help those who can't. We who are in the room have to make room. We who are at the table have to set a place for others. We're here now. Women are in the world, and we will not be bullied.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. Lebanese man Cesar Masri is found dead in his home in Dawhat Aramoun. Authorities believe he was stabbed to death. Financial prosecutor Judge Ali Ibrahim charges 22 people over links to the illegal internet scandal. And Saudi King Salman meets with Sheikh Al-Azhar in Egypt. Talks revolve around the fight against terrorism. Those are your top stories for today. I'm Linda Tamim, wishing you all a very pleasant weekend.
بقول له يا سيد أنا رجعت على لبنان، أتمنى إنك ترجع كمان على لبنان.
قرار صادر من مجلس الجامعة تسمية حزب الله الإرهابي.